Hi everyone, Bethany Teeth Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Lorde album, Melodrama. Lorde is a New Zealand pop singer and songwriter who hit it huge off of some breakout tracks from her debut EP, the Love Club EP, specifically the song Royals. When Lorde started turning heads in 2013, she was an exciting new voice in the world of pop music, but the start of her career was very much obviously that of an artist who wasn't planning on becoming an overnight sensation, because this sudden rush of attention thanks to the track Royals created this instant demand for more music. By the summer, we were hit with the Tennis Court EP, and then later in the fall, her debut album Pure Heroine, which contained highlights from the previous EPs, including Royals. And I get that Lorde and her label were doing their best to take advantage of the first year of hype behind her music, but the finished product on Pure Heroine was a little rushed. It sounded like a loose collection of tracks that were just too uniform in sound, too skeletal, too basic, too simple to really work as a full record. And despite the fact that I saw quite a bit of potential in her singing, in her voice, in her style, she did kind of come off like a one-trick pony, which is unfortunate because I thought most of her songs, at least the best songs off of this album, sounded incredibly mature considering what age she was when she wrote and recorded them, and that it would be great to hear whatever she had to offer several years into the future when she had improved her skills at songwriting and performing. And here we are, several years into the future, brand new album, Melodrama, which was teased toward with a handful of singles, the biggest of which has easily been the song Green Light, which is kind of funny considering that is maybe my least favorite of all the singles on this record. Mostly because it feels like kind of a disappointing departure from what made Lorde's music appealing to me in the first place. The stark, minimal, beat-driven instrumentals, the very dramatic vocal performances, essentially finding power in simplicity, which is certainly the case for the introduction of the track, but it does not take long for the song to start introducing these four-to-the-floor kick drums and these very, very dance music friendly piano chords. There's some zany vocal harmonies happening in the background at some points of the track. For me, for a Lorde song, it just kind of feels overkill. The lead vocals, which are really the selling point to me in Lorde's music, just feel like they have less prominence. They're sort of awkward, out of place, especially as this dance kick drum starts going, and immediately Lorde starts writing herself a little out of her vocal range with a low point in her singing. All these sounds in my mind. That final note there being one that she grazes more than she hits. I'm similarly cold on the song Sober. The track seems to build up a lot of tension with these subtle verses and a very cerebral beat. And this tension is never really quite resolved, even on the hook, even on the groovy beat switch up toward the end of the track, even with some of the steamy horns. Where the record really gets going for me is on the song Homemade Dynamite. It's a track that's really coy and playful and built upon the strengths that I think made Lorde's music great to begin with. But now they're elevated with better production, better synths, cool little weird experimental synth embellishments, and a very soft, breathy, but incredibly sticky hook. Dynamite! Things also get playfully cute on the song The Louvre, a song that features these soft but driving guitars that take us through these endearing lyrics about a young love figuring itself out. And again, the lyrics, a little flirty, talking about how we're so great that they'll hang us in the Louvre, in the back, but still the Louvre. And the hook, the refrain on this thing is actually pretty funny too. The broadcast boom, 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 and make them all dance to it. The production at this point gets all kind of distorted and overblown. I kind of like the sound play here. Definitely a bit weirder and off the beaten path than I would expect a top 40 pop record to be. And the sound change here is huge. It's totally different. It's a big stark contrast from what the verses are doing with the guitar and the vocal melody, but even so, it works. This is the kind of experimentation, these are the kinds of surprises that I was looking forward to hearing on this record, and I'm getting them, and I love it. The song Liability is a passionate and intimate piano ballad that I was deeply impressed with going into this album, and in the context of the track list, I still think it sounds amazing. The simple piano and vocal combo is great, but it's really about the lyrics on this song, which is pretty funny now that I think about it, because if I recall correctly, I was not all that impressed with some of the lyrics on Pure Heroine. I went away from that record hoping and sort of crossing my fingers that Lorde would progress further on that record, that she would mature a little bit lyrically and get a bit more adventurous, a bit more intimate, a bit more detailed in what she's singing about. And that's definitely the case, especially on this track, where she is singing about sort of the position that her fame puts her in, making her a difficult lover, a difficult friend, because, you know, sort of being in that limelight once people in your life, family, whoever it be, is also in that limelight with you just by nature of being with you, being connected to you by blood or by love. You become sort of a liability. It sort of makes life kind of weird. As she says, people pull back, they make other plans. It's a really interesting take on the way that fame can impact a relationship. An interesting angle not only for her, but for pop music in general. I'm equally wowed by the recreation of the rush of memories that hit you when you think about an old relationship that you have a lot of sentimental feelings about on the track Supercut. There's something kind of anthemic 80s arena pop, arena rock about the way that the song is built up that I like a lot. It's awesome to sort of hear this style of music ring so true in Lorde's music, not only because I think she does it justice, but it's kind of a aha moment for me, like, of course, like this sort of music, of course this sound would be such a huge inspiration to not only what you do on this record, but earlier on in your career too. Lorde seems to be lamenting the death of the same relationship on the track Writer in the Dark, where what really makes this track stand out for me is that there is a sudden vocal change on this track where she goes into her upper register and hits this inflection that has a very, very Kate Bush sort of tone to it. There's some powerful strings here, some sad, simple piano chords, and I like the passion in her voice. I love sort of how cracked and sad and depressing it sounds. And what's even funnier is the song is about how the guy who she used to be with, I bet he's regretting the fact that he kissed a writer, kissed a songwriter, kissed an artist, a creator, because now I'm writing all these songs about him, and now everybody's hearing all these songs, and our relationship is kind of being put on blast. Certainly more self-aware than a Taylor Swift, who will just continually pump out songs about shattered relationships like she's a human assembly line. But as long as Lorde is being a little self-aware about this, I wish she kind of took it another step further, because in the internet age, in the information age, other artists rapping or singing about their exes can be kind of odd, because the moment that one of them does, instantaneously loads of gossip sites troll the internet, do their research, and sometimes they find out who these people are and post articles about them, which in a way can be kind of, I don't know, embarrassing or, as I said before, abusive, even if the relationship did kind of end on bad terms. But to get back on track, I love the very heavy and intoxicating Hard Feelings, which features an odd instrumental with a bridge that has all these shrill, loud, metallic tones sort of battling it out over the instrumental. I feel like almost like I'm listening to poltergeists yell at each other. I should probably stress here that this is a really odd thing to happen on such a big pop record. While, again, there are some songs where Lorde is obviously making some top 40 concessions, there are quite a few tracks here still where weird stuff like this occurs. And not only does it sound really interesting, it sounds beautiful and it sounds exciting. I'm so happy to hear that Lorde is continuing to take musical and sonic risks in her music while still delivering an album that overall is pretty accessible. Now, there are a few reprises on the album where she references back to previous tracks, the song Sober 2, as well as the Liability reprise toward the end of the album, which is something that I like on this record. It says to me that Lorde is thinking of this entire album as a continually flowing, as a linear experience, not simply just a collection of tracks. Even if I do think some of the weird trap percussion on the song Sober 2 is kind of off. However, the closer Perfect Places might be my least favorite song on the entire record. To me, it seems like this track is just trying way too hard to define a generation, as it were, by making partying sound super deep and serious, as well as trying to deliver this huge, just mountainous, but also very empty, oversized chorus that invites everyone in to not only sing, but think of themselves and everyone else listening to this song and everyone else who's a part of this millennial generation is just one big collective where we all love each other. Maybe I'm taking that a little too far, but the instrumentation is kind of overkill, especially for a tune that isn't really that significant in Lorde's canon, and the beat, Christ. I mean, it's just a deja vu of another beat off of Pure Heroine. Maybe I'm taking that a little too far, but the song really does epitomize the title of the album, Melodrama, and not in the best way. However, despite the weak moments at the very start and the very end of the record, I think this is a really solid pop album. Certainly a sign of maturity and growth past her sudden appearance in the spotlight several years ago. Lorde seems to really be growing into her sound, growing into her voice, growing into her style, and expanding upon it too. And at this point, based on what I've heard on this record, it sounds like she has many more solid records to come. I'm feeling a decent to strong 7 on this thing.
Transition. Have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe. And please don't cry. Just leave an angry comment in the comment if you're angry. I will catch you guys in the next video. Other videos next to this one that you should check out over here next to my head. Next to my head over here in this general area. Also, down there below me, hit that subscription button. Hit that official website. And stay hydrated. Lorde, Melodrama forever.